beginning the show today, according to a new estimate from Nebraska Farm Bureau, potential losses in the state's ag industry as a result of the coronavirus pandemic could reach almost $4 billion. To put that into perspective, that's more than 80% of Nebraska's entire budget. Nebraska Farm Bureau senior economist Jay Rempe put the numbers together and joined me to discuss what it means for producers.
The way to think of this is kind of a snapshot of looking at the potential losses, both realized and unrealized, for farmers and ranchers. And what we looked at were some of the major commodities produced in the state. And overall, we're looking at revenue losses potentially of $3.7 billion. Now, that breaks up a couple different ways. One is $2.4 billion of that is on the commodity side: beef, pork, corn, soybeans, wheat, those kind of things. But we also looked at the ethanol industry too, because it's as you know, a pretty major part of our ag economy in the state. And we made some assumptions about the rest of the year, the operating capacities, and estimated their potential revenue losses from sales of ethanol and distillers grains of $1.3 billion. So that's how we came up with the $3.7 billion total. And that didn't even include the spillout effects into the rural communities and the other economic impacts, multiplier effects that might occur.
Are there any conditions that would need to be improved for us not to have losses at that proposed $3.7 billion level?
Well, I think a couple things come to mind right away. One, there's two or three things actually. One is part of the COVID was kind of a 1-2 punch for agriculture. First punch wave came in March, when we saw the restaurant sector and the hospitality sector shut down, and we lost a major source of demand there, and we had to shift supply chains, and that took some effort and a little bit of time. And then the second wave came in April with the shutdown of the livestock processing, the animal processing facilities, pork and beef. And so if we can keep those up and running at pretty much full capacity, if we learn how to do that, I think that would be tremendous. If we can see if people get back out and start buying gasoline again, of course, that means more ethanol sales, and then hopefully that'll pick up corn. And then the other big factor is export markets. We need those. Of course, this has been a worldwide pandemic. It's affected world economic growth, and anytime you see world economic growth affected, you're going to see trade affected. And agriculture is heavily reliant on trade, and we need those export figures to pick back up again too.
Do you have a breakdown as to how much of this $3.7 billion is due to COVID, or would part of that be due to losses that were already there from trade wars and the weather last year and just the market in general? How's all that breakdown?
You know, we don't have I don't have it split out exactly or breakdown, but I've got to believe that most of it is due to COVID. The way we looked at it was we took prices that coming into the year in January and compared them to prices in mid-May. And we made the assumption then, we made some assumptions in terms of marketings between January and March or May, and then marketings for the rest of the year. And so most of the impact that we saw to prices had to be from COVID. Now, there were some underlying things in the markets that exacerbated the problem in terms of we had a lot of animals coming in this year, both pork and beef. And so any snafu in the processing sectors was going to mean, it could mean major discounts in prices because of that. And we saw that. Coming into there, we expected record beef and pork production. And same thing, we had a lot of grain in storage. We had some good crops last year. And so those exacerbated the problem. But I would say most of the impacts that we're seeing here are from COVID.
And then when you look at a potential second wave of COVID this fall or winter, where does that leave us?
Yeah, that's a fear. As we're looking at the economy starting to recover and you seeing some things pick back up again, that's the fear of a second wave. I'd like to hope that we've learned a little bit through this first wave of the COVID, and when the second wave comes, or if it comes, we'll be a little bit prepared, especially in terms of the food supply chain. And so the problems won't be as big as they were last time. But that is certainly a fear, and we hope that doesn't happen, both from a health standpoint and an economic standpoint, because we need these markets to pick back up, and so hopefully these impacts that I'm estimating won't materialize.